What's up everybody and welcome back to the YouTube channel. We're here yet again to talk about Avengers Endgame, with this time the Russo brothers talking about that Tony Stark scene at the end of Endgame. With this said, there are major spoilers in this video for Endgame, so if you have not seen the movie, please watch it right now, whatever it takes. With our spoiler warning out of the way, let's go ahead and discuss exactly what the Russo brothers said about Tony Stark. At the conclusion of Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark made the ultimate sacrifice in order to snap his fingers and wipe out all of Thanos' army, ensuring that the plague of the Mad Titan would end there at Avengers headquarters, and that no Thanos from any timeline would ever be able to return to plague the Avengers and the universe ever again, laying down his life to ensure that the galaxy would remain safe, and doing whatever it takes in order to ensure that the Avengers ultimately won the day. The Russo brothers recently openly discussed this and explained exactly how Tony's story has led to this point, and how ultimately the sacrifice is the conclusion of the Iron Man character. This is what the Russos, as well as the writers of Avengers Endgame, said about Tony Stark to the New York Times. Everyone knew this was going to be the end of the Tony Stark character. I don't think there were any mandates. If we had a good reason not to do it, certainly people would have entertained that fact. In a way, Tony Stark has always been the mirror of Steve Rogers this entire time. Steve is moving towards some sort of self-enlightenment, self-interest, and Tony's moving towards selflessness. Both got to their endpoints in this movie. When asked in the interview if the writers ever considered letting Tony Stark live in this timeline, they answered with this: no, because we had the opportunity to give him the perfect retirement life within this movie. The writers here are talking about the 5-year time jump in the movie, as Tony Stark got to live his happy life, although it would not last. The writers also explained that the death of Iron Man should not live on as a tragedy, but a very heroic moment. In fact, the most heroic moment in the MCU. That's the life that he's been striving for. Are he and Pepper going to get together? Yes, they got married. They had a kid. It was great. It's a good death. It doesn't feel like a tragedy, it feels like a heroic, finished life. But that is what the writers and directors had to say about Tony Stark's death in Avengers Endgame, and ultimately how it was the culmination of the MCU, as well as the fact that the writers do not want the death of Iron Man to be regarded as a sad factor of the MCU and end of this story, as he got everything he wanted, and ultimately got to protect his family in the end by snapping his fingers, even if it meant giving up his own life. It's also interesting that they talk about the similarities between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, and the fact that Steve Rogers got the happy ending because he ultimately got to make the selfish choice and go back in time and live a life, while Tony Stark, on the flipped coin of this, is moving toward the selflessness and the selfless act. In the end, ultimately proving Captain America's statements in the first Avengers incorrect, as Tony Stark did lie down on the wire and gave his life for the Avengers and the entire universe. But what are your guys' thoughts on this and the director's comments on the death of Tony Stark? Also guys, if you want to, now is the time to pick up some Avengers Endgame merch, from Quantum Realm jackets to Tony Stark jacket. Using my link in the description down below, you guys can get a major discount on all of the hoodies and t-shirts. In addition to this guys, don't forget to enter the Infinity War Hot Toys figure giveaway. But as always, I want to hear what you guys have to think about this and the end of the Tony Stark character. Was this a fitting and satisfying climax to the last 10 years of the MCU and Iron Man overall? As always my friends, hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.